guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to reshape your dress form to your body measurements. Here are the list of supplies that you're going to need. Chalk, tape measure, needle and thread, pins, paper and pencil to record your measurements, scissors, make sure it's paper scissors and not your fabric scissors, curved ruler, bust pad, which could be optional, bra in your size, make sure it's lightly padded or not padded at all, batting, big and small pieces. Next, you will need to create an outline of the armhole on the dress form to make your draping process easier. If you have a dress form like this one that has no arm plate, you will need to create an armhole outline. I've gone ahead and created my armhole outline. I'm going to bring the camera closer so you can see what it looks like. I'm going to show you how to create an armhole outline on the left side of the dress form. This is a dress form that comes with an arm plate. The importance of the arm plate is to guide you when draping the armhole. The bottom of the arm plate indicates your armpit. 1 inch below that is the armhole on a garment. Next, you'll need to take 3 measurements. Tip of the shoulder to the bottom of the arm plate, which is 5 inches. Tip of the shoulder to 1 inch below the arm plate, that is 6 inches. Tip of the shoulder to the arm plate screw level, that's 2 3/4 inches. Next, transfer those measurements onto the other dress form. Those measurements are standard on a dress form. If you don't feel comfortable with those measurements, you could just take your own measurements on your body. You will only need 2 measurements. Tip of your shoulder to your armpit. Tip of your shoulder to 1 inch below your armpit. Now I'm using a curved ruler as a guide to create the outline of the armhole as I place pins to make the armhole outline. This is what a finished outline looks like with all the necessary indications. Next, you will need to take a series of measurements both on your body and your dress form to see how they differ. The measurements are chest circumference, bust circumference, below bust, waist, high hip, which is the hip bone area, hip circumference. When you're taking this measurement, make sure you're taking the front and the back measurements. If you don't have anybody to help you, you could just take the front measurement and subtract that from the full circumference, and that will give you what the back measurements are. Also, when taking this measurement, make sure you're wearing a comfortable t-shirt and pants with proper seam line that sits well on your body. This will serve as guideline to your taking your measurements. The next set of measurements you're going to take are the lengthwise measurement, and they are bust to waist, waist to high hip, and waist to hip. These measurements are for references. Here I'm just taking the dress form measurements to see how they compare with my body measurements. That would help me in understanding how much padding I need to do in different areas. My armhole outline is in place. I've gone ahead and put the bra on the dress form. I'm going to start filling the bra with the pieces of batting to get my desired measurement. Make sure you fill both cups equally, as you don't want a lopsided bust shape. I kept measuring as I fill out the bra until I got my desired measurement, and then pin it in place so that it doesn't shift when I drape. I started layering the high hip area both at the front and at the back. Again, I kept measuring both front and back until I got my desired measurements. After padding the high hip area, I've gone ahead and did my first round of layering on the hip area, and I'm sewing the batting pieces together. I used the red thread to sew the princess seam line both at the front and the back, and the lighter thread to sew the batting together. Sewing the batting together will help eliminate a lot of bulging that could affect draping. My first round of padding is done. I placed it on the dress form, making sure the princess line matches with the one on the dress form. I took the measurement to see if more padding is needed. I needed more padding, so I created another layer, again making sure that the princess line matches. This time your princess line should match the princess line on the first layer of batting and not the dress form princess line. More padding was needed, so I added a final and third layer going through the same steps as before. After the final layer, I started to join all the necessary seam lines together, but this time I sewed a rope into all of the needed seam lines so I could see and feel the seam line when I'm draping. I doubled the rope to make it visible and traceable when draping. I went ahead and finished all of the seam line off camera on the right side of the dress form, and here is the final result. I did a bit of sewing the seam line together on the left side. There are other ways to mark your seam line after padding. You could also use a designer's tape, as I'm going to show you. Using a designer's tape is the most common method. However, I prefer the other method because when you're using a fabric that is not see-through to drape, this method allows you to feel for the seam line. You're finally done. Make sure your armhole markings are in place and the other necessary areas are padded to size. Your chest, your bust, your under bust, your waist, your high hip, and your hip. This is the front of the dress form. And here is the back of the dress form.